took the I thought I was just gonna get away with just changing the pads, and when I looked closer, I found that the pad was gone. It was metal on the rotor. So this got very little meat on there left. So I had to take, when I took it off and further inspected, that brake pad is, you see, it's pretty much gone. And I wasn't planning on doing it because I normally don't work on cars. At least my son does all that stuff. But I said, you know what? Let me get the tools out, get the jack out. And this is my first time actually owning a car. I always own like trucks and SUVs. So, just kind of, I don't know if you can see that, I had to get the extension through there to get that piece off right there. So I got most of it off. Those two screws hold the caliper in place. This one actually holds the frame. So I'm about to take the next one out, pull that rotor off of there, and put the new rotor on. Hopefully it's the right size and everything. So let's see what happens. I was just being lazy. I could have took the ride out to my son and see if he gets all the jack and everything and lifts and all that good stuff. But I was like, let me just try it out and see what the old guy can really do, So I already got the nut cracked back there. Just gonna take that off. What I thought was gonna be a simple, just change the pads and pop new pads in, because typically you just swing it forward, pop the pads in, and I don't have that tool. My son has that tool, but I was able to do it last time by turning it in with my needle nose. I'll probably do the same thing. I'm only gonna do one side today, probably do the other side tomorrow, or if as long as you don't let it wear too long on the same side, it should be all right. But this, and I wasn't anticipating, and almost there. A little bit more. Pretty long. Not too long, but I think we got it out. So now, that's take that frame off. That's the frame. This is the, yeah, you can see how it was digging into the metal. That's probably, you probably can still get away with it and probably won't meet safety standards and still work. These have places they used to, well, nah, they usually measure it and see if it's good or bad. I think the walls are kind of too thin though. I want to spray some brake cleanup pot on there just to clean that stuff up too while I get that open. Just to make sure that looks, I'll spray a little brake pot cleaner on there just to see what happens with that. Just want to clean the back of this stuff up here right quick. Yeah, that's definitely thin. If you compare that one, let's got the one off the box here. Got some door last. Yeah, the thickness is. Well, it's not off by a lot though. Well, really not off by a whole lot. See, well, you have to take it out to the machine shop and then measure it with a caliper and see if it's suitable for, you know, milling down or grinding down or shaving down, machining. They call it machining it down. Everything else looks pretty good. Nothing seems to be like out of the ordinary. This piece right here was bent forward. I bent that back. That's just like a dust cover. So I'm gonna put this on. I'll try not to touch the middle part of it. I don't want to get that part dirty. You see, take a look at something right quick. Yeah, I guess somebody worked on this before. Usually there's no screws are hard to take out sometimes, so there's some screws that keep that in place. Do you really need them to be there? Probably not, because once everything's in place, it's nice and tight and snug. So you don't, I mean, they put them there for a reason, but on the Chevys, they never had them. On like all the Chevy trucks that I had, they never had those. We're gonna kind of just reverse putting this back together. Just remember in the orientation how you take this off, because well, it only can go one way. So if you put the wrong way, then you do something else wrong. So make sure you put these. Let's drop it right behind there. So it's dropping right. If I can show you, kind of like this. So what I typically do, I like to start it with both screws. So the upper screw and the lower screw, I start both at the same time, just to make sure they both line up. So I'm gonna get this first one started here. Get a couple of, so I get a couple of threads in there. I'm right-handed, so I'm trying to do it backwards. It's easy if you have a lift, because you can see exactly what you're doing. So I got a couple of threads on that one, which is good. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Get a couple of threads on it, and then start snugging it in. I got to use the extension to get behind it, because it kind of, if you guys can see, I think I showed you, it kind of goes behind the frame. It goes behind the frame right here. So you kind of have to go. If you don't go this way, you won't get it. You won't get it at all. And that's why the mechanics charge you a lot more money, because you know you gotta have tools, you gotta have extensions, all that good stuff. This one's not lined up, so I just gotta line it up straight. You always want to get a couple of threads before you start ratcheting it in, because you don't want to cross thread the threads. So I'm gonna tighten this up, snug it up nice and tight. What I might do, I might go to AutoZone tomorrow and buy another rotor, so I have 2 new rotors on the rear. That could be a thought process. So if I'm in the process of changing rotors, I might as well, you know, depending how that one looks on the other side, you know. I won't mess with it today, because I just want to stop that grind. I heard some grinding on the back wheels, and I checked it out, and I said, no, worst case scenario, you let it grind too much, you're gonna mess up the caliper, and you don't want to do that. So, you know, you do have to change the rotor, but you don't want to have to change the caliper and the rotor. Now you created a bigger problem that you don't really want to create. So if you hear some grinding, get it checked out sooner than later, you know. Power tools makes it a lot easier too. If you have power tools, you can do this job probably half the time. I think my son has all that stuff too, the power tools. Pretty sure the stuff that he's doing, he's got quite a few stuff going on over there. Gonna tap this in. I'm gonna give it a nice torque it down just a tad bit, so it's not. And this is the way I torque it. I hit the back of the hammer. Let's give it some. Now you know it's not gonna back off anyway. Definitely not gonna back off. You don't wanna over tighten it either. And always get the right tool. Cause if this socket is too small, it won't fit obviously. But if it's too big, then it will strip out the head. So you want it to fit snug. And try to keep your wrench or your ratchet square with the head. That means that. Yeah, cause you don't wanna over tighten it. Now the part that's pain in the neck. When I first did these brakes, I thought you could just push that caliper in, and I knew there was calipers that you had to turn. I just never came across them, and lo and behold, that's one of them. So what I did last time, I just took my needle nose like this. I stuck it in those two teeth there. If you can see it, two little. Now my son has the tool. It costs like $20, $24 because he does a lot of brakes. I don't do a lot of brakes, so unless I'm changing these things on more often than I should be, I'm probably not going to invest in that tool. I'm more likely I might go over his house and borrow his tool. Makes it easier, right? So you take this. It's best to get a real needle nose. This is like a multi tool. This is a Gerber, but it's still gonna work. You put it in his two teeth right here, and you just kind of turn it, just like that. Take your time. Don't pinch your fingers. Put it in. I'm trying to do it with one hand. So it's turned like that. Eventually, it's gonna go in. When the caliper goes all the way in, let me stoop down because I'm kind of like overreaching myself. Let me do it this way so I'm not killing myself with this. Trying to get on my knees. That's what I'm doing. Being late, but always take your time because you're not in a rush either. And you can make a tool like this too. You can. You always want to call you when you're doing something. Hello? Probably another hour and a half. All right. Bye. It's one of my customers wants to know when I'm going to be there. I'm just doing some painting and stuff like that. But, you know, it's almost in there. So it's going to keep turning this bad boy till it goes all the way in. You take your time because you're not in a rush. You know what I mean? There's no urgency to do this. Like, you're not trying to set a world's record. You know what I mean? You're not trying to do none of that. You're just trying to safely turn this caliper all the way back in. And I never seen how the mechanics, how they work. Like how this caliper, I guess when you step on the fluid, it spins out. That's one way I could think of it. It must have like a little thing that pushes it around. If that makes any sense. And just turns it right. See how it's going back in? I think that's in far enough right there. I'll turn it one more time to make sure. Yeah, I think we're kind of seating right in there. And the way you can tell is when you put the brake pads in there, it's either going to fit or it's not going to fit. So those guides are in place. And typically, this guide is supposed to, you know what? looking at that, maybe I need to get new guides on this thing too. What This is supposed to be in. Why is that out?
I have a family trouble between mother and son at 28 Stonecrest Road. The son is being described as aggressive, has a history of mental health issues. He's currently in the back porch. Josiah Beaufort, date of birth 5/26/04. Black male, blue long sleeve shirt, black pants, no weapons.
Okay, so it's supposed to be like that. Yeah. You can always, I think you could buy these little shoes too and put those in there. Some people take them out completely, but I don't. I keep them in there. This other one goes on the top. This one looks okay. But I'm wondering if this guy. Oh no, maybe not. That's the proper way. That's the proper way it's supposed to be. Let's sure that sits in the groove. Get the Duralast. This is the Duralast brake pads here. Supposed to be lifetime warranty on these bad boys. Take out the old ones, bring them back. If you got your receipt or if you're in the computer, they give you a new set. So I got some new pads right here. I'm keep the other two because I'm gonna do the other side too before the winter time comes. And I'm still contemplating on should I do the rotor. So I might hold off on that one until I get the rotor. I might just want to have a whole new set on the back. You know what I mean? May hold off on doing that bad boy. Now when I put these in, I want these things to. This is the orientation that it's gonna go, but I want that spring. Okay, here we go. That one's in. Same thing on this side. Make sure you. Well, it only could go one way anyway, but make sure you put in the right. You try to put it that way, it's pretty much not gonna fit. I mean, unless you try to force it in there. Make sure these clips they sit in those little. Okay, we got those both in there. That's how it would look when you put it in. Now, the caliper kind of sandwiches them together when it's compressed it. So this thing should slide right over here without no hassle. If it doesn't, that means I gotta push it in further. But I think we're in far enough that we don't. Once it goes back to the base, it goes back far enough. And that's in there like that. So now you got that's your caliper. It's on. This is your bottom screw or your top screw, whatever we wanted to call it. They're both the same size, so it's not like you need to. Sometimes I keep the screws the same. I don't switch them up because just in case. Get this thing started first before we put the other one on. Okay, that's on there. And then this one put right here. Now, I don't know the sizes. Well, I could tell you the sizes now. The size for the rear brake, what you call it, the frame, that size that I'm using right now is, what is that size? Hold up. 13. So I'm assuming it's a 13 millimeter. That's what it says on there. It says 13. It also says like 5.113. I don't know what the heck that means. But I think this is a 13 millimeter. Let me look at the next size up from that and see what that one says. they never said it was hard to get it off the shaft. That's because I don't use these things that often. So this one says 12. So that must be a 13 millimeter. Now, decides to tighten up the caliper, or the caliper, is we're gonna pull that size out in a second. Because there's two different sizes. That size is eyesight's not the greatest. It's a 9/16. At least that's what I'm using anyway. 9/16. Yeah, 9/16. I don't know if you guys can see it. The camera's probably not gonna pick that up. Maybe it could pick it up if I hold it the right way. But it's 9/16. Now I'm gonna do the same thing I did to the top. Just tighten it up. Start with the top. Just tighten it up real good. Don't kill myself. Now I got this. This is where I got to keep that piece from moving too. If that piece moves, it's not going to tighten up right. Here we go. And that's. Oh, that should be tight. Well, yeah, you don't want to over tighten that either because it's not going to back off. It's not going to back off. This is, oops, sorry about that. Move that over just a tad bit. So this is where it gets a little, not tricky, but I gotta get into that tight quarter there, under, kind of like just underneath this. Just gotta get right in there somewhere. There we go. I gotta hold that piece down to it. Cause if this other piece is spinning, then I'll be spinning all day. So make sure that piece where my thumb's at is not spinning. It's tightening up now. That's good enough. Cause I mean, you don't have to tighten this up too tight. Cause that's not going nowhere. As long as it's not loose and jumping around. Okay, so I'm done with the socket set. I always put my tools right back where they came from. And I try to wipe them off as much as I can to keep it. I had this toolbox. I don't know how long I had this thing. More than at least 10, maybe 20 years, maybe. I don't know. But it's kind of, I try to keep it. I do have an older one, a Craftsman. But this one's my Duralast one, and it's pretty good. You know, it's not this is a 90 piece. This is a 90 piece set. You can see the set that I have there. I always have I think every person that owns a car should have at least a small ratchet set just for small things. We're not saying get a mechanic set. We're not telling you to get all those fancy tools and stuff. Get some extensions, get some deep sockets, get a variety of the basic, the basic ones anyway. Now, this piece here, this is a Craftsman, but this piece here is a Duralast. I bought that back when Sears and Roebuck's was over there by the Fenway area. And I guess Kmart does Craftsman products now, so I think they do anyway. I don't know if there's any more Sears and Roebucks around anymore, but this is like Sears on it, Craftsman, yeah. So Craftsman, see that Craftsman symbol? Where we at? See, it's kind of hard to see it on the camera, but it's a Craftsman, and it's like a ratchet, but I use it as a breaker bar as well. So I got assortment of sockets. Now these are not the impact sockets; these are just the regular sockets. But I do have a set of impact sockets too, and I use these to change the lugs on the tire. So if I ever get a flat tire, let me show you how easy it makes you to change. It makes it so much easier if you're changing the tire when you have this on. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Kind of lift it up like that so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I back it up a little. No, I keep it right here. I keep it right. So you kind of see what I'm doing. Just back in the box. Here's my pads. I'm gonna keep these. Tomorrow's Thursday. I might go to get me another rotor and change the other side. This one, I'll keep it and see if it can be machined down. If it can't be machined down, then it's become scrap metal. So there's two options there. Alright, so we're gonna put this back on. Then once I get this on there, I can tighten up everything, take a test drive, pump the brakes a little bit before I go off. Because you want that piston to kind of go out. You don't want it to be in there. I'm gonna have to jack the tire up. We'll see. Might have to lift the car up a little bit. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, I think I do. Let me press this down just a tad bit. Is it more than that? This jack might have a slow leak. Because it did go down. Yeah, it went down a little bit. That's weird. Might have to well, it's not a major problem, but typically a jack shouldn't lose its height. Yeah, because when I lifted up, it was the right height. And then I seen it, it was off. So that means you can have a slow. Two things could be happening. I didn't tighten it up all the way when I engaged the little screw there. Or it could be a bad O-ring in there that may need to be replaced out. But it's not a major thing. Always start all these. Now I used to, well, maybe I could do it now too. Before I put these on, I used to always put like a little bearing grease on these, so they don't seize up. I'm gonna do it now too while I'm here, since I do have some bearing grease here too. And the only reason why I do that, because sometimes if you, I can show you another thing I used to do. I might have to do that too, since I got it like this. It's best to do it now while you got it up in the air. You can wait till later and have to do it, especially in the winter time. A lot of these cars, this piece here seizes onto this piece here, and I don't know what causes it. Maybe it's the heat and everything. So all I used to do is I take a little bit of this bearing grease right here, and I would put it. I'll show you right where I put it at. People thought I was crazy for doing it, but it's not. It's just, you don't need a whole lot, but right on here. Put it all in those spots. And that'll help keep it from seizing up to the rim. So I put that grease right now. I put some on these threads too, and I did it for years. I always done it. Just keep the threads from seizing up too, because it doesn't hurt the car at all. And know your lug nuts do not back off. I had some guy that he said he was an engineer. He said your lug nuts are gonna back off. I'm like, how would they back off if they're tightened down? Like they have yet to back off, and I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've never had a lug nut back off on me yet. And basically, just put that all around here, and that's just to give it a barrier between the metal. So because you got keep in mind this is aluminum, and that's like a steel. So those two metals typically shouldn't they don't work well together. Put it that way. Kind of put this all around here too, just in case. Because sometimes you can get this thing to seize up. And it's a little messy with your fingers, but not a soap and water can't change that. And you're all set. It's not a lot of grease either. I still probably got more than a half a pack left. Looks like it's heavy, but it's not that heavy. It's like a thin coat all the way around. I did all my my studs. I would hate to have to change these studs on this car. If you ever, well, you could still do it, but you have to take all that off to get to the studs in the back. Well, maybe not. Depends. I did them on the trucks. I never done the studs on the car before, but it's all the same method. It's about knocking them out and putting them in. Key to is don't break any, and then you won't have that problem. Okay, so we got this back on. Gonna put these. Kind of. Let's jack this seat down just a tad bit because it's hitting the floor, but it's all good. Just get these kind of hand tightened first. Never don't be so quick to try to force them on. If they don't go on nice and easy, take your time. Take your time, no rush. Now that I got these all on here, let me get this one on too. Hold on. Now this thing, it works wonders. This wrench right here, or this ratchet. So I could do this, but I also can do this. And see that? That's taking it off. So all I gotta do is take it like this and spin it. It tightens it up. Once the wheel starts moving, go to the next one. I won't torque it down until I put the tire on the ground. Okay. Now, and once I get that down like that, I can lower this jack. I hope I don't have to take that thing off there, because this car's real low to the ground, by the way. It's not supposed to be that low, just so you guys know. I didn't put it that way either. Let's see if this thing, well, I guess it does come out of there like that, huh? Nice. I wasn't thinking it was gonna come out of there. I was thinking I was gonna get my other jack to get that out. It did come out. So now that I get it on the ground, if I drive off like that, guess what? My tires are gonna fall off for sure. They're definitely gonna fall off because I didn't tighten them down. So now what I gotta do? Come over here. Now I'm about 220, maybe 225. So like this, that's enough pressure to keep that from moving. we're not trying to jump on it. I'm not gonna put my foot on there and do all that crazy stuff because that's too much. Let's make sure these two are tightened. Okay. You're supposed to do the opposite bolt. So theoretically, if I did this one, go to this one, skip that one, go to this one. Then go to this one here. And then repeat it over again. See, I know that's not going anywhere. I'm putting a lot of this thing has a lot of leverage to it too. Perfect. It shouldn't move easily. It'll, if you have to really force it, then you know you got it too tight. That's good enough right there. I could tell the difference already. Perfect. That's pretty much it. Um, yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna put the stuff back. I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit. Wash my hands because my hands are dirty. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.